11th Vice Chancellor of the University of Guyana, Dr. Rosalind Khan, Dean, Faculty of Education, Deputy Vice Chancellors, Dr. Melissa Eiffel and Professor Emmanuel Cummins, Dr. Marcel Hudson, Chief Education Officer, Mr. Mark Light, President, Guyana Teachers Union, colleagues of the Faculty of Education and Humanities and the wider university community, colleagues of the Ministry of Education, other stakeholders, to those persons who are with us in Guyana and internationally online, members of the media, I bid you a warm welcome to the launch of very important initiative, the International Center of Excellence in Educator Innovation, Learning and Development, ICIL. This is an initiative which has come to fruition from collaboration between the University of Guyana and the Ministry of Education. Once again, I bid you a warm welcome, and I do hope you enjoy our program today. Before we get into the official business of this afternoon, we'd like to invite to the podium Mr. Maya Hall, who will lead us in the national anthem. Can you please stand? Thank you. Maya.
The free, dear land of Guyana, of rivers and plains made rich by the sunshine and lush by the rain. Search and light and fair between mountains and seas. Your children salute you, dear land of the free.
Thank you very much, Omaya. Can you please be seated? It's always a pleasure to listen to Ms. Hall as she performs her various pieces. At this point in time, it is important that we have an understanding of why we're here and the reason for us assembling here in this auditorium. So we have with us to speak is the 11th Vice Chancellor of the University of Guyana, Professor Paloma Mohammed, who has been able to lead the University of Guyana's Transitional Management Committee so that we can achieve all sorts of excellent initiatives. I invite Dr. Mohammed.
Good afternoon, everyone. Honorable and beloved Minister and alum of UG, welcome to you. Members of the Ministry's top administration, welcome to you. the University of Guyana's administration, Cyril Potters, the diplomatic community, those of you who are present. I'd especially like to welcome the head of IDB in Guyana and the representative from the Chinese embassy, and any other diplomats who I have not been able to recognize with your mask on. This afternoon is a very special afternoon. It really belongs to the students, and it is my pleasure to just give you a brief, very brief welcome, but a context in which this is developing. Many, many years ago, for years, the education of teachers being done at the University of Guyana required a lot of steps, a lot of logistics, and mostly required them to get permissions from their head teachers, from the ministry. We had to sign off on timetables to verify that they were actually coming to the university before they get to go. It used to have to be hard copy. A lot of things had to happen in order for a teacher to be able to come to UG in a way that was perhaps not optimal. Enter COVID in 2020, and 2021, and part of 2022, and everyone knew that the university took itself online. First, emergency learning platform was set up, and then we perfected it into our learning system, thanks to a wonderful team of people called the Tactical Online Service Unit, which was put together to do this. This, of course, created the opportunity and the space for persons who wanted to study for a long time and who were home during COVID, and those who were already studying at the university, not only teachers, to go online and to take their classes. And even though we would have lost about 5% of our students who could not continue for reasons, many reasons, we were still able to graduate 90% of our students in the first year. And in the second year, please, yes, that's good. And that's for my staff who did that, our university, wonderful university staff. So we graduated in 2020, about 2,500 students. At 2021, 22, closer to 2,700 students. What the university, therefore, was doing and not recognizing that it needed to do was what the Minister of Education, I believe, recognized needed to happen. Because I think we did not intend to stay online. But she was visionary enough with her team to call upon us to think of a way to do several things. One is to lessen the learning gap that has developed for all kinds of students during this period by making sure that teachers were no longer leaving the classroom to teach, but also at the same time not depriving them of the opportunity to study if they wanted to study. And so last year, a series of whirlwind meetings were conducted, and we were asked if we could put the university's online, the university's education offerings. So the Faculty of Education and Humanities, whose dean is here, and I want to applaud her and her team, Dr. Lashley, Dr. McBean, Dr. Bissessar. Yes, because while people were writing about us on Facebook saying we were not responding, they were actually working all through Christmas. I remember us having a meeting on Boxing Day, a meeting on New Year's Day, to try and figure out how we could convince the rest of the faculty that this was necessary. So the education side of the faculty was ready. They understood what needed to be done. There are several things within the university that are needed to happen. A vice chancellor does not wave a wand and say, I decree. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. We do have teams of people, committees to convince. And so I'd also like to mention them and to thank them for coming to the board with us several times and allowing us to do this very visionary thing. So my colleagues, Deputy Vice Chancellors, Professor Cummings, Dr. Eiffel, Registrar in particular, and the registry, the library, all of these persons, and of course Professor Gomes from the Berbice campus, for our academic board and academic policy and planning committee meetings, which are very tough to pass. But in taking this step to put the educational courses for teachers online, the university then saw an opportunity to do three things. One is to put the rest of the courses online and to re-rationalize and reorganize the Faculty of Education and Humanities. And in doing that, we looked at our own blueprint, which we had developed some time ago in 2019, and which is an evolving document, which is consistently looking at the needs of the country, the needs of the region, and the needs of the world, and trying to ensure that UG's offerings and the way in which we do things is consonant with the relevance of now and the future. And one of the things our data is telling us at this moment, and this is why I called Minister visionary, because she would have said you have to stay online. And then when we did our surveys within the last couple of months, students and staff basically said, most of them said, we want to remain online. So we are now reconfiguring our campus and our offerings to a blended campus so that many persons who want to stay online can do that. Those who want to come will be able to do that, and those who want to blend, and if it's an emergency, they can do that. But you will note the name of this center. We could have simply said, you know, we're going to go online, and we just say, leave it as that. The International Center of Excellence in Educator Innovation. Because our work on the edge of technology, on the edge of the future of education, and most importantly, the future of the workforce that we're going to need in the country and otherwise, tells us that the educator of the future, or the teacher of the future, is going to have to be a very, very different person than we have now. For instance, back in the day when I was in school, if you told a student something, they would say, yes, miss, or they might look at you. But now they Google it. So that your role is no longer to be a font of knowledge. Your role might be to be a navigator of knowledge, to help them to choose what to do. And what is the role of technology in education now in the future? And what are the future kinds of disciplines that we will need? So we thought we would meld these two things together. So an international center, because we are now online and we can actually train people from out of Guyana and train teachers from out of Guyana. I train others from out of Guyana. So the International Center of Excellence, because if we want a workforce that is excellent, that is robust, that can take this country forward, and that is sustainable, we have to be excellent. And I don't believe that in Guyana, given where we're going, and we have to go, anything less than that is going to be acceptable. Now we understand that it's a process, and we can't just catapult and get there overnight, but the intention to be excellent, I think, is important, and that's what UG wants for the teachers and for ourselves. And then educator innovation. Educator innovation, a theme in creating the next generation workforce, as our work inside is indicating, is a big idea. But most importantly, we have to be able to understand what has happened in the last 2 years. All of the innovations, we have to be able to take account of all of those innovations that you, teachers and others, administrators in the education space, would have employed, and what the impacts of those will be in the future. Also, we have to also begin to factor in technology into education as an intentional subject. And so in this center, we have added 2 new departments, 2 new units. One unit is going to study, teach, and research on STEAM education with a focus on technology. And since I have the minister here, I've been saying this over and over, and nobody's taking me on, so I hope she's listening to me. But since I have the minister here, you know, one of the things that we have been saying at the university is we're advocating for a technology stream in schools to start from nursery, as different from science, from the pure sciences, because if you're going to build things and you're going to be an engineer and so on, technology in itself as a subject has to be there. So I really hope that we can do some pilots and do some things around that. And then, of course, the other unit that we have indicated is one that deals with things like, so the digital technologies, so what we call educational technologies. One of the things that concerns us a little bit is because everybody's on Zoom and online, but those technologies do not belong to us. So if they're disrupted tomorrow, all of this is like, so we have to think of ways in which we have a plan B, we have another way to reach and to be mobile that is country-centric in a certain sense, and to teach that. So many people are online, but do they know how to teach online? Do they know, what are the kinds of things we have to do? So we are putting that into our curriculum now as a specialist area. And then the minister had asked in January during our budget defense meeting with the President and Vice President and Minister of Finance if we could consider leadership as one of the things that we would do. And so we have included in one of the other units that dealt with administration a specific strand, a specific unit for leadership. So this is what you're going to see in the future from UG. And of course, development is all for development. So I want to, on behalf of my colleagues here at UG, the Deputy Vice Chancellors, Registrars, Directors, the Deans of Faculties, all the persons, to welcome you all here, especially the students who are from Cyril Porter's, the students who are in UG already and those who will come in. You are entering into a very exciting, wonderful period of time. And these are opportunities that have not existed before. So it allows you also to work at your own pace, to decide the pace of how you want to finish. We are not going to hold you to 2 years. If you want to do 3 or 4, you have other things to do in the evenings because we understand this is going to be possible. So welcome to a flexible, mobile, adaptable, responsive, excellent UG. And I commend this to you. Thank you.
Let's give a bigger round of applause to our Vice Chancellor, who in all our deliberations has been extremely visionary, and she is one who is able to meet the challenges, understand the importance of change and the importance of us being ready to meet the challenges, opportunities, etc. that are available. Our next speaker is a very hard-working person. Dr. Rosalind A. Khan is currently Dean of the Faculty of Education, and she is a linguist. She taught Spanish, literature, all those areas, both locally, regionally, and internationally. And she has served Guyana for many years. Our Dean is hardworking, and she is able to acquire the understandings and the appreciation for the need for change and rise to the occasion when called upon. I'd like to invite Dr. Rosalind Khan, Dean, Faculty of Education, to give an overview of the center. Dean Khan.
Good afternoon, everyone. All protocols respectfully observed. It is with pleasure that I stand before you this afternoon to give an overview of this very innovative and groundbreaking initiative that was stimulated by the collaboration between the Ministry of Education and the University of Guyana. The center is being established in response to the call from the Minister of Education to the University of Guyana and our national university, requesting our prompt response both at the level of policy and practice to support our teachers in Guyana in closing the loss of the learning gap that resulted from the consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Faculty of Education and Humanities has therefore embraced the need to respond positively to this absolute need for change, especially since our vision includes producing well-rounded graduates with mastery and skills needed to function nationally, regionally, and internationally. It happens to coincide with the goals of the University of Guyana Blueprint 2040, especially the second goal that articulates the intention to transform our university into an institution of excellence and research, nationally, regionally, and internationally. More specifically, the faculty, by its very title, seeks to deliver the highest standards of educational theories, practices, and administration, as well as leadership, evidence-based pedagogy, and to inculcate a passion for research into historical and cultural practices, and to foster the development of skills and attributes necessary in the pursuit of successful career paths in relevant professions. What are we seeking to do, therefore? We are seeking to go through that process in our creation of the work that we do as a faculty, to be adaptable, to be accessible, to be affordable, to prepare our graduates to earn as they learn. We need to provide mobility, transferability at the modular and at the micro level. We need to be practical and we need to be applied. We need to be relevant. We need to be flexible. And we need to provide the kind of designer degrees that fit in with being hybrid, with being multi-interdisciplinary, and to begin to shape the kind of specializations that meet the needs of our communities, especially at the national level. In particular, with regard to the learning loss among students in Guyana and the rest of the world, this significant phenomenon, the Vice Chancellor in December 2021, after consultation with the Minister of Education, requested that the Faculty of Education and Humanities undertake to deliver to the vast majority of our classes for teachers virtually within a 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. timetable, to hire existing or new specialist tutors for those whose subjects currently are taught in other faculties, if the need arose, since we were going to be having our teachers in the classrooms all day and then attend classes in the evening, to establish this international center which is being launched today. The center, as you know, you've heard, is called the International Center of Excellence in Educator Innovation, Learning and Development. This center will lay the foundations for ongoing training opportunities anchored in relevant theories and to provide learning opportunities for academic and professional training within communities. Targeted participants will include trained or untrained teachers and other interested adult learners throughout the length and breadth of Guyana, as well as further afield. The virtual delivery mode of these initiatives will allow for blended and/or, at times when necessary, in-person modes of delivery in determined and possible circumstances. And what is the vision of the ICEE-ILD? It is to create and adapt from our current programs the delivery of short, ongoing courses, programs, workshops, seminars, research projects, etc. for teachers and, as I said before, other adult learners. We're going to place our emphasis on the established pedagogies of high educational quality, and we will include special education needs, okay, and or disabilities, and we know that acronym as SEND. We'll look at the competencies and skills necessary for professional, social, and social advancement within our communities. What are our objectives? The ICEE-ILD aims to rapidly reconfigure a robust online teaching learning structure within the faculty, which can be scaled up to accommodate double or more than double of the numbers of teachers currently being trained at the Cyril Potter College of Education. Especially in keeping with these numbers, our main, and we know, of course, that the CPCE is our main feeder institution. We aim to train teachers on their own time because we know that we have been under tremendous stress over the past 2 years. We know that our teachers are under stress as well. What our plans in this center will do, and this is what UG used to be in the past. Though we have 4-year degrees, and our students who come from the Cyril Potter College of Education work according to a 2+2 plan or a 2+3 plan, given all the dynamics that have emerged surrounding the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic, we aim to allow our students or give them the opportunity to attend and to complete their studies when they can, when they choose, depending on their own personal circumstances. And who stands to gain from that? Both the ministry and our teachers. We have been hearing many concerns about mental stress among our teachers. What we are planning to do is to give them that opportunity. They will not be out of the classroom during the day, and they can decide, I would like to finish my program in the 2+2 or the 2+3, or I would like to continue and take my time and excel and not be under undue stresses. So this is one of the main things that we are trying to do we're looking not only at what we're going to offer our students, but how we can do so in a way that would allow us to keep them. They won't get frustrated and drop out. That is one of our main concerns. We're hoping as a center to create the type of academic and professional through the provision of socio-economic, political, historical, linguistic, and cultural learning opportunities to become teachers, and not only teachers, but also community leaders, playing integral roles in the future advancement of their own communities and our nation. We hope that our center will deliver the types of ongoing academic, professional, or skill courses, or short programs, workshops, etc., aimed at developing mastery of the competencies and skill needed to function effectively in teaching and in other professional and skilled activities. We also hope to generate practical and action research activities. And with this is really new and innovative for us, because we're going to be very proactive in approaching our Ministry of Education, in approaching other ministries and other institutions within our country to offer research opportunities. So we are dedicating one of our units to research and innovation. And I think that is the way, because in most countries, in almost every country, the education faculties of universities, especially when they are in national universities, can play pivotal roles in this area. So this is yet another one of our objectives. As I've noted before, we will be working with the Ministry of Education. We will reach out to our regional education officers, because we do have students throughout the length and breadth of Guyana. And one of the aims of the blueprint is to produce at least one graduate per household. So this center of ours will be paving that path for us to reach out to everyone in our nation. We will be working with the Cyril Potter College of Education. We will be working with regional, cultural, social, and historical agencies, libraries, and within the campus, all the relevant office. We will not be operating in silos, because one of the best things that any agency or center can do is to collaborate with others, okay? So we will focus, yes, on teacher training in all its aspects, right? We will be teaching in virtual modes. We will offer already approved courses. We will offer non-credit courses. And I've already mentioned workshops, certificate programs, seminars, etc. to focus on the immediate needs. We would love to be given the privilege of doing so, to focus on the immediate needs of the Ministry of Education and our country, Guyana. We will begin, once we get started, we will begin to pave the pathway into that active kind of research. And the research has shown that action research is one of the strong points in faculties of education. So this is the way we're going. And how is our center going to be structured? We will be having a director. We're still a faculty, right? So the dean, there will be the dean, Our faculty, because of our numbers, we currently have 2 assistant deans. With the expectation of the students we will get from who graduate from the Teachers College, we may have to ask for 3 assistant deans. But the center will have a director. The center will have 3 heads of departments. And we have already catered for the increase in numbers of students. So we have presented our proposal, and the university knows the number of coordinators, and this is something we're very big on. We will have coordinators to be working on the day-to-day business of the different options that we will be offering. We will have the unit, as the Vice Chancellor mentioned, dedicated to research and innovation and to educational technologies. This, ladies and gentlemen, is an overview of the International Center of Excellence in Educator Innovation, Learning and Development. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dean, for that detailed overview. And what we noted was that you made 2 points: collaboration and our ability to respond positively to change are 2 areas that we have to address as we move forward with our new center. At this point in time, I'd like to invite Ms. Kamani Kederu, who is the coordinator for the Division of Faculty of Education Humanities from the Berbice campus. Could we welcome Kamani?
Yeah, thank you. Standing on existing protocol, I begin with an expression of commendation and gratitude to the education leaders who spearheaded the creation of the UG International Center of Excellence in Educator Innovation, Learning and Development. In an unpredictable and constantly evolving world, it is crucial for everyone, especially those whose responsibility it is to impact the learning outcomes of others, to be engaged in learning opportunities and learning experiences that support and promote the continuous development and improvement of the knowledge and skills required for professional growth and personal fulfillment. The University of Guyana International Center of Excellence in Educator Innovation, Learning and Development offers educators the learning opportunities and learning experiences that would allow them to critically engage with current and evolving dynamics in their environment. For educators in Berbice, this center represents renewed energy directed to revitalizing the education sector through educators' engagement with the highest standards of professional development in leadership, management, teaching and learning, innovation, and research. It also represents an expanded vision which places access to skills training and capacity building within the reach of every educator, who will no longer face the challenges of securing release from work or waiting their turn to pursue advanced training and higher education. Educators will now be able to capitalize on a new model of knowledge sharing that involves interaction, partnership, collaboration among educators from all across Guyana and the world. Educators will now be able to maximize access to unlimited online learning and teaching resources and modern learning platforms designed to facilitate real-world application of theory. Educators will now be able to exploit opportunities for lifelong learning, supported by experienced professionals and modern technology. Guyanese should be immensely proud that in an environment of constant change and emerging challenges, the education leaders of our country have offered a transformative solution in the form of an international center of excellence in educator innovation, learning, and development. We look forward to the continuation of enabling conditions and capacities that would allow the Center of Excellence to manifest its transformative potential. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ketteroo, for those insightful remarks. And I do understand and appreciate the feeling that you have about this particular initiative. We are so very proud. Thank you very much, Ms. Ketteroo. We'd now like to invite Ms. Umaya Hall to entertain us with her melodious voice. Ms. Hall is going to do for us the greatest love of all. Thank you, Ms. Hall.
I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be. Everybody searching for a hero. People need someone to look up to. I never found anyone to fulfill my needs. A lonely place to be, and so I learned to depend on me. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I fail, if I succeed, at least to live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity. Because the greatest love of all is happening to me. I found the greatest love of all inside of me. The greatest love of all is easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself, it is the greatest love of all. I I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I fail, if I succeed, at least to live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity. Because the greatest love of all is happening to me. I found the greatest love of all inside of me. The greatest love of all is easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself, it is the greatest love of all. And if by chance that special place that you've been dreaming of leads you to a lonely place, find your strength in love.
Amazing talent. Let's give her another round of applause. Thank you very much, Ms. Hall, for that musical rendition. It's really very interesting to listen to. At this point in time, we'd like to invite the president of the Ghana Teachers Union, Mr. Mark Light. Let's welcome him.
The COVID pandemic came at a time when culturally we supported face-to-face delivery of education. And out of the experience we've had over the last 2 years, we recognize the importance of supporting an online approach to education delivery. And so I am happy to be here this afternoon as a teacher representative, president of the Teachers Union, to say that our teachers are pleased with this initiative. And I'll say why they are pleased. We have several grades of schools whereby teachers are released to attend the University of Guyana based on the grade. For a grade A school, 4 teachers are released at a time for the duration of that program. And so we have many teachers waiting in line for their turn to attend the university. For grade B school, 3 teachers are released. Grade C and D schools, 2 teachers and the like. And this has created a lot of challenge within the education system for those waiting in line, and some magically will find ways to come above others. I am here this evening to let you know that the feedback we've gotten from our teachers is that they are happy that the university is going online and also offering an opportunity for those teachers who cannot access the online approach to education delivery here at the university to do face-to-face. But I must say that there are several challenges that we ought to address as well, because with this approach, we will now have teachers attending the University of Guyana after the regular school hour. And this will help to bridge the gap that existed as a result of the COVID pandemic that hit the shores of Guyana and many other parts of the world. However, we have to think about how our teachers will utilize the resources they have and whether those resources are needed, more additional resources are needed to help them along the way. Also, our learners would have to be embraced in this regard. But having said that, I am aware that the present set of cohorts and those that are emerging within our society, they prefer to have an online engagement for their learning. And so if we do not have our teachers trained in this regard, we recognize that the children will be at one level and our teachers will be at another level in terms of the technological skill needed to deliver education. May I say as well that the Guyana Teachers Union will fully support this initiative, and we have been speaking to the University of Guyana about the need for this to happen, and I'm proud that today we are here because of this initiative between the University of Guyana and the Ministry of Education. GTU fully supports this and look forward to more teachers getting the opportunity to be trained at the university level, hence promoting higher standards of education within Guyana. I hope that as we go forward, our cultural mindset that a university degree that is gained online is as equally important and valid as a university degree gained face-to-face. There was a time that online university degrees were seen as inferior to degrees that were earned face-to-face. So I hope that in so doing, we will help to change the cultural mindset of our Guyanese brothers and sisters. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. And I want to assure you that an online degree, particularly in the current environment, is just as valid and sometimes even more robust than the one we do face-to-face. Let us accept that and recognize how important it is. It takes a lot of work to have a program going online and for our students to access those programs. So our students are in good hands, sir. We now like to have some responses from students of the Faculty of Education and Humanities and from the Sir Leopoldo College of Education, CPC. So we have persons from both Turkine and Tain, as well as some pieces from students online. So we now invite Ms. Vanessa Peters. She is a nursery teacher and currently attached to the Anna Katrina Nursery School as a graduate senior assistant mistress. And she is also a part-time lecturer at the University of Guyana, and she is pursuing a master's in early childhood education. So, Ms. Peters, we invite you to the podium.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Priya Manichan, Vice Chancellor, Professor Muhammad, Deputy Vice Chancellors, Professor Cummins and Dr. Ironfield, and other members of the SMT present. Dean of the Faculty of Education and Humanities, Dr. Khan, Assistant Dean Designated, Ms. Hunter, the Coordinator of the Faculty of Education and Humanities, Berbice Campus, Ms. Kadaru, the President of the Guyana Teachers Union, Mr. Light. As a final year master's student, I've benefited from the online classes at the University of Guyana. Two of these benefits include: one, I can learn in the comfort of my home. I can attend classes from the comfort of my sofa rather than the uncomfortable chairs in the classroom. In addition, I can take much needed restroom break, get up, stretch my arms and my legs, and even eat something, which is not possible in a classroom situation. The greatest aspect is that after a hard day and a long session, I can easily transition from the sofa to the bed. Two, save time and lower total costs. Living on the west coast of Demerara, I value the time it saves me, since my journey from home to the university takes approximately 1.5 hours, as well as expenditures up to $3,000 per week. Moreover, lecturers offer online learning materials, so there is no need to purchase textbooks or handouts. In closing, I will leave you with a quote from Haynes 2020, who stated, "The biggest benefit of online learning is the utter lack of pressure, because you get to set your own schedule and study only when you have time. It makes learning not something you have to get over with, but something you look forward to. From experience, you learn more when you enjoy the process." Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Peters. I really do appreciate those remarks, and I think that their colleagues who might be around appreciate those also. The sofa to the bed. Sometimes it's in the bed to bed. So we'll now invite Ashwini Shudat. She's from Essequibo. She's a pre-service student at the Porter College of Education, where she's studying for an associate degree in education. Let's welcome her, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon to the Honorable Minister of Education, Priya Manichan, and everyone in the audience. It is with great pleasure that I stand before you this afternoon to brief you on how the launch of the International Center of Excellence in Educator Innovation, Learning and Development will assist in the preparation of future education. So, in keeping with its vision to produce well-rounded graduates with mastery skills needed to function nationally and internationally, the movement to formalize the creation of the UG International Center of Excellence in Educator Innovation will assist in the preparation of future education by rapidly configuring a robust online teaching learning structure. And I think this will greatly impact teachers. As a teacher in training, online classes has helped me so much because, as my colleague said, that It is very time efficient and also it saves a lot of money. We have resources that's given to us, which is a great privilege. We don't have to purchase textbooks. So the online classes helps greatly. The center will accommodate for training to be facilitated at a time when it's suitable for teachers after a regular school day, which will minimize loss of the quality of learning time with their pupils. As a teacher in training and someone who wants to acquire my degree later on after I finish at CPCE, I think this movement towards the future of education will help a lot of teachers, including myself. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Ashmini, and I note the recurring theme of not using so much money to go to school, availability of resources, and so on. So let's hear what Mr. Dexter Somerset says. He too is an in-service trainee and attached to the West Demerara Secondary School, where he does social studies and music. He is the vice president at CPC and is known for his outstanding personality. Mr. Somerset.
Pleasant afternoon all. With all protocols being observed, today I stand to just for a few minutes to let us know how the online and different completion time could positively impact the lives of our trainees and our students, or make their certification easier. The move to formalize the creation of the ICEE ID and implementation of shared courses for teachers by the FEH via the online mode will certainly provide benefits. The online mode will facilitate completion times, positively impacting trainees and make certification possible within the required time. Why? Because additional research can be done, which will also help to enhance one's skills and also give the individual more time than in a face-to-face classroom setting. This will also allow the teacher to have exposure to a wider scope of resources, which will enable him or her to produce better quality work, such as assignments, e-portfolio, etc. This in itself will give teachers adequate time to meet deadline and also to better manage their time. Furthermore, innovation and technology for education and development focus include building specialist areas such as energy, entrepreneurship, special data, education technologies, and data which teachers of the future will need to be able to understand and develop. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dexter, for those thoughts and in support of what we've already heard. We have absent two persons, Mr. Keith White, who unfortunately could not be here, and Ms. Monique Sarias. The next two presenters we're going to have online, and so it gives us an opportunity to demonstrate how important it is to be able to dual mode whenever we have an activity. So we have Ms. Lakshmi Sharma, and she is a dedicated educator of more than a decade experience in early childhood settings. And after that, we're going to have Shabana Hasmin. She has been motivated to start teaching in 2014, and she teaches at the Fort Wellington Secondary School. So we're going to have on the screen Ms. Sharma and then Ms. Hashmin. Just pay attention to our screen for the messages from those two people. Just give us a brief minute to get a sound in it.
Final year master student, and I am Lakshmi Sharma, a final year master student at the University of Guyana. I am currently conducting studies in the field of education, early childhood. It is an honor and privilege to speak to you today about my experiences with online classes at the University of Guyana. I would like to acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Minister of Education, Priya Manichan, Vice Chancellor, Professor Mohammed, Deputy Vice Chancellors, Professor Cummins and Dr. Eichel, and other members of the SMT President. Dean of the Faculty of Education and Humanities, Dr. Khan, Assistant Dean Designate, Ms. Hunter, the Coordinator of the Faculty of Education and Humanities, Berbice Campus, Ms. Kedaro, and the President of Guyana Teachers Union, Mr. Light. Online classes at the commencement of my program was not a choice at that time, but rather they were the only mode used to facilitate online classes during the pandemic. Emergency remote education was quite new to me, but I can positively say that it significantly benefited me in a number of ways. Firstly, it occurred in the comfort and convenience of my home. Thus, transportation issues during late night classes were eliminated and was one less aspect to worry about. This remote modality prevented me from having to overcome such hurdles as traffic congestion and accessing transportation. Secondly, virtual classes were cost-effective for me because I am residing in Berbice, and the program I am pursuing at present is only conducted at the Turkey campus. Thirdly, maneuvering online platforms increased my asynchronous communication skills. As a group, we completed assignments via Google Documents and Google Slides at the convenience of our time, but within specified deadlines. Utilizing learning management platforms such as Moodle also developed my technical skills in terms of becoming more digitally literate. A new aspect of technology was learned each day. I end by encouraging prospective students to embrace the online modality in order to realize their dreams and obtaining tertiary level qualifications. I would like to leave you with this inspirational quote from Daphne Keller, who stated, "Online education can open doors that would otherwise remain closed." Thank you.
We now listen to Shabana Hashim.
Honorable Minister of Education, Priya Manichan, Vice Chancellor, Professor Paluma Mohammed, Deputy Vice Chancellors, Professor Cummins and Dr. Eichel, Dean of Faculty of Education and Humanities, Dr. Rosalind Camp, Assistant Dean, Dr. Lashley, and President of GTU, Mr. Martha. A pleasant good afternoon. My name is Shaban Hashim, and I am a student currently pursuing a postgraduate degree in secondary education at the University of Guyana. It is my pleasure to present to you my views on the life of teachers studying fully online outside of the stipulated school hours. Here, I will highlight to you some of the benefits of implementing such a move in the education sector. It is time convenient for all, since release is no longer needed and teachers can study at their own time. They are able to choose the timetable on their own availability. In addition, if a teacher is absent from a course, he or she can do the course at another time when the course is over. Therefore, access to content is convenient at any point in time. Secondly, this move encourages more teachers to attend and further their studies, since anyone can go to the university at any point and time and does not necessarily have to wait on their turn, depending on their seniority in the school. Thirdly, this initiative increases the number of qualified teachers in schools, because teachers do not have to wait on a long time to go to the university, and so they will be more motivated to go early. Fourthly, for some teachers, it is less costly to study online, since they do not have to find passage to attend to classes at the university, and also provide other educational materials and so forth. In addition, teachers in the hinterland area will no longer find it difficult to find accommodation in Georgetown to attend to the university, neither leave their schools and families to do so. Therefore, this program also is suitable for teachers with family who are the main breadwinner and needs to work to maintain the family and the home as well, as providing moral and cultural support to their children, since they do not have to leave their family for long hours to attend classes. To conclude, studying online will enable teachers to be in school and on a full-time basis, since they do not have to leave students during instructional time to attend classes, and sometimes there is no teacher to replace the studying teacher. Hence, more work is done and no one is neglected, and most importantly, with online studies, teachers are no longer indebted to the government on a contractual basis. Thank you.
Excellent closing remarks. You know, it is very important that we understand that change is very hard. For us as individuals and for organizations, even more difficult. This afternoon, we're going to welcome a change manager, a change agent, our beautiful Honorable Priya Manichan, Minister of Education. She understands change and she's going to share her ideas with us. Ma'am.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hunter. To everyone here in this room, to everyone watching us, to teachers across Guyana, to students here and children yet to be born, this is a huge moment for teacher education in Guyana. This is a big moment for equity in education in Guyana. And so some of these topics that we talk about and that you heard people talking about are not sensational, they're not sexy, they're not going to make the headlines, because that's UG's business and it's ministry teacher business. How is this impacting Guyana? And that's what I'm here to tell you. When I came into government in 2020, in the midst of a pandemic, after 5 months of two disasters: school closures, which is a disaster for any part of the world and with which we were sharing with the entire world, as well as an elongated, extended election period which must never happen again. The CPC, the Cyril Potter College of Education, was closed, completely closed, with no prospect of opening. Nobody knew when they would open. Nobody had an inkling about what would happen. And we had no knowledge about when COVID would stop, when it would finish, if vaccines would be made, and if they were made, whether the developing world, like our country, would get any. And we had all these uncertainties and questions. What that meant is that 4 years down the line, when COVID, we hope, is no longer a problem to the world, we would not have had teachers to put into the system. And that would have been a big problem. Since we began the Improving Teacher Program, Guyana Improving Teacher Program, when we changed from teacher training, the teacher's training certificate to a UG degree being 7 years, to 2 years at CPC and 2 years at UG, or 3 years under the TTC and 3 years at UG, we've only ever been able to have at max 75% teachers trained in the system. And we've been stagnant at 75, 73, 77, depending on the year, for about the last 15 years. And we are not going to be able to change that unless we change how we do things. So COVID was horrible, continues to be horrible. But COVID brought with it opportunities. Opportunities that allowed people who can dream and who are not afraid to make decisions the opportunity to bring about that change. And I want to be very clear about what that means. When we made decisions before, now going forward, we were never sure, and we continue to be not absolutely certain that they are 100% right, that they will be a 100% fit, that we are 100% on the right track. What we are 100% sure of is that we do not have the luxury to throw up our hands and take the easy route and say we're not going to make a decision. There are people who would have nothing to say critically about us if we don't make any decisions, if we don't take any movements forward. And we say, you know, COVID caused this and all that, so we can't make changes. Nobody in the education system, nobody in the government did that. We came in, there were challenges that we were faced with, a closed college, COVID, so you can't go back to school, and challenges that existed pre-COVID. A stagnant number of trained teachers, a particularly low percentage of trained teachers in the hinterland regions, which gave us a severe inequity on how we delivered education and what results were returned to us. And if we were to make that less abstract, what it meant was that we were unable to give the people of the hinterland the same opportunities, the children of the hinterland, that we were able to give the coast. Those were pre-COVID challenges. COVID gave us an opportunity to reset. If we were going to be bold enough and interested enough, and if we had the will to reset. And there's one thing I don't think you can doubt about us. There's no lacking will to change for the better. So I met with the CPC. At the time it was Professor Dr. Viola Rowe. She's since retired, but we will get her back in the ministry to do some other things. And I said, we can't stay closed. We have to go online. We have to put all our programs online, but I don't want teaching online. Teaching online is standing in front of a camera and speaking. I want an online school with libraries, tutoring, teaching, the ability to interact. It's not just teaching online. A school is a very different matter. And I explained to her how that could benefit us financially. Once we straighten this out, we could then offer to teach all the Brazilian teachers English, all the teachers in China English. We could go international because we now have that capacity. And immediately the college went to action, and by April of 2021, I wanted it in January, but that didn't work. By April of 2021, we went online. And what that did, where the CPC was only ever able to take in at maximum 535 students, we were able to admit into the college last year 2,000 students. So, 4 years from now, whereas we would have been graduating 0 if we had stayed closed, we are now graduating 4 times the number we would have graduated pre-COVID. That means more quality teachers in the system. But then that became a problem, because if we were putting out 2,000 at the college, and by the way, prior to going online, almost all of our hinterland teachers did only the trained teacher certificate program. They could not access the associate degree program because they were in the hinterland. And that program was only offered in Georgetown. Once we went online, the number of TTC students went significantly down, I think to 37, and that was an eligibility issue. And the number of ADE, the degree students, went all the way up, because now the hinterland teachers could come and do a degree, the associate degree. But the problem then that we were faced with, or that we would be faced with, not yet faced with it, so this is actually a proactionary move, was that once the teachers were finished training at CPC and they had their 2 years, if UG were only able to continue face-to-face, then it means we would have a big bottleneck. You're training 2,000 persons at CPC, but only 100 could come to UG. So you would have a backlog for a large number of years. And then we said to Paloma Mohammed, this is our problem. There are people who talk about everything. They have an opinion on everything, and they're welcome. There are people who dream about stuff and write lovely prose and poetry and lyrical passages about these dreams. And there are people who do. And Paloma falls squarely into the category of persons who, the persons who do. And it's an extreme pleasure to work with her. She's extremely responsive to the needs of this country and the people of Guyana. And sometimes, so this is one where we specifically ask for this program, but sometimes she hears the conversation, comes back and does her thing here, and then comes to us with a response for a question we never asked, but one that meets our needs. And that is the kind of leadership that I truly appreciate. So the conversation started with UG about how we would make sure that UG goes online, so that the students who are graduating at CPC could come to UG also, and we could have a higher number of trained professionals in the classroom. And today is the result of that conversation. Now, throughout my various iterations in this ministry, teachers had this big problem. If you were in a grade D, So grade in our system refers to the size of the school. Grade A means it's a big school. Grade D means it's a small school. And because of the nature of the geography, small schools exist in far-flung communities. So you'd have a small school in a riverine area. That's actually the school that needs the trained teacher more than anywhere else. But that school could only be allowed one teacher in training at the time. So if we placed you, and this was the terrible contradiction, if we place you at a riverine school where the teachers really need you, and there's already a teacher who just started UG there, you have to hope that the teacher dies and you get to go next, and that's assuming there's nobody in the line before you, or you have to wait for 4 years. And then 3 years in, another teacher comes on board, but it's a mathematics inclined person, and we need a trained math teacher more than the trained music teacher, so she gone ahead of you. And it was a horribly unfair, horribly imbalanced, terrible for attracting people to a profession we wanted to be noble and professional and have people make their careers in. This allows any and all teachers to train now. If it's 10 from a school, 10 out of 10 could be at UG at the same time. It also allows, as you heard from Lakshmi from Fort Wellington, the University of Guyana is the premier campus. So this is the campus that does all the fancy courses. If you're from Berbice, there's Tain, but you're limited to what Tain does. Or you could get on a boat, on a bus, and travel 3 hours to Georgetown and 3 hours back and incur the expense if you want to do what's happening at the University of Guyana Turkine campus. No longer will that be an impediment. Anybody, anywhere in the country could do all the courses the University of Guyana offers. And what does this mean? What does this mean to the people of this country? What does this mean to the children who are currently in the system? What does this mean to the children who are coming into the system, yet unborn? It means we're going to be able to put more and more trained teachers in the classroom. So 2 things. Quantitatively, you're going to have more teachers, because where we used to have 500, we now have 2,000. But qualitatively, they're going to be more effective, ought to be more effective at delivering education because they came to school and learned how to teach. Learned methodology. Learned how to deliver. Learned how to notice a child is going down psychologically some path that they need some correction for or they need some interventions with. It's a different thing. Content is different from knowing how to teach the content. And so we are going to have more equity in the system. So the schools in Region 9, Awarenau, which has very few, if any at all, trained teachers, we are now looking to make sure all the teachers in the system are offered training. So if you've been teaching for the last 4 or 5 years and you haven't been able to access training, we've actually sent out a memo that could appear harsh on the face of it, that says you have to sign up for training, and if you don't, the system may not have space for you, because it is more likely than not that a trained teacher will deliver better education. And so the children of that community deserve that. Simultaneous with this, we are looking to make sure we provide housing, because there is going to be a period before teachers are trained, 4, 5, 6 years, and it's chicken and egg. If we put a trained teacher in the community, they're going to be producing children who could pass exams that will now have the eligibility criteria to enter the college and the university, but that's a good 15 years away. So in the meanwhile, we are also looking to see how we can accommodate teachers who do not belong to hinterland communities in the hinterland through providing houses and other incentives. And we're actively working on that program. So while we're here doing a UG thing, this is actually a thing that will benefit every single household in this country, that will benefit every single child in this country, that will benefit children who are not even yet in the school system in this country. And this is a thing that helps us to fulfill a manifesto promise we made, which was that we were going to work to bring about 1, more trained teachers, and 2, more equity in the system. We're going to try to make all the regions equal. So it doesn't matter where you live, you can thrive, you can be anything you want to be. We want to make that a reality. But it also requires all of us to be our best selves. I think this period showed us more than anything else, this COVID period, that at the end of the day, things don't matter much. I mean, it didn't matter how many things you had in cash. If you couldn't access the vaccines, and if you couldn't access proper information and healthcare and so on, it didn't matter how much you had. At the end of the day, what will be counted is what each of us brought, what each of us left in the people we met, in the people we encountered. And to this end, I expect and encourage the teachers who will benefit from this to go out daily and give your best. If you want to go through a list of all that we have done over the last 2 years from which you will benefit, you can. And in fact, I think you should. Have we been perfect? Absolutely not. There haven't been perfect times. Have we made mistakes? Yes. Are you still waiting on your stipend? Yes, but that's going to start being paid from tomorrow. And there will be people, some of them every night on talk shows, telling you everything wrong with your life and everything wrong with the service we provide. And that's fine. But you in this period, if this is your calling, and this is what you chose, and you chose it, nobody has brought you here kicking and screaming, then for every day that you stay a teacher, I ask you to give your best. Give your best. Because for every day that you fail, you're failing large numbers of children who will then go out and fill this country in different fields. To every adult in this room, we all are, could tell you of the teachers who made a difference in their life, who were wonderful, and who that one day when they needed kindness offered it, and who guided them, and who helped them, and who taught them, and who made them love a particular subject. But equally, every adult here could tell you of the poor teacher they met who also left an impression on them. Who also left an impression on them. And as much as it is our duty to do all we can to make your professional life better, it is a bigger duty I consider myself to have to make sure the children we swore to serve and whose paramount interest we must consider every day are served. And so there will be changes to what the profession looks like. We have to talk about continuous education. We have to talk about licensing teachers. We have to talk about some of the things that will make you the recognized professional that you deserve to be. And while I have seen, and I don't have any doubts about it, and I can say this with absolute confidence, for the most part, most teachers in the last 2 years performed excellently as humanitarians and as teachers. So much so that when we had bans from going into the classroom, you can't go, you can't take people's children, you gotta be 6 feet apart. People teachers snuck children into their own homes and bottom houses and classrooms to conduct classes because they knew that the children would not learn without that. And most of our teachers performed. Unfortunately, what gets highlighted is the 1 or 2 delinquents you have. And in every profession, in fact, in every group of persons, more than 10, there's some delinquent amongst them, in every single profession. This is one of the most important professions in the world. You get to shape what your country looks like now and what it will look like in the future. That is the importance of your role. And we will treat you as though you are that important. And as you know, to whom much is given, much will be expected. And so we are beginning those changed conversations. And Bonita said earlier, change doesn't come easy. So to introduce some measures that could appear restrictive or regulatory may not be met with open arms. But if we understand the fundamental place we're coming from, that is a place where we want to make sure this profession is accorded the respect and is in line with other professions so that it could deliver what it seeks and sets itself out to do, then there are going to be those hard conversations we have. So this evening, at this launch of the International Center of Excellence in Educative Innovation, Learning and Development, this evening, this is a big, big moment for equity in education in Guyana. And I couldn't be happier to join the University of Guyana in launching this center. I thank you and God bless you all.
Let's give the Minister a bigger round of applause. She never fails to deliver on ideas and encouragement so that we could move richly forward. And while it is old and overused, Nelson Mandela's quote, which says, "Education is the most powerful weapon that we can use to change the world." Minister, that's what we're doing. We're changing our world. We're changing the region's world, and we're changing the world generally for all the people with whom we interact and for whom we have responsibilities. Therefore, as the Minister said, she didn't say it in these words, but our principal goal of education should be creating men and women who are capable of doing new things, not simply repeating what other generations have done. And that came from Jean Piaget. Thank you very much, Minister, for giving us that impetus to do even more. At this point in time, we come to that special moment in this evening's presentation where we do the ceremonial activity of the launch. At this point in time, we'd like to invite our Honorable Priya Manichan, Professor Paloma Mohammed, Dr. Melissa Eichel, Professor Emmanuel Cummings, Dr. Rosalind Khan, and a student representative. The Mark Light. And could we invite the students who spoke? Thank you very much for that launch. Could we give the Ministry of Education and the University of Guyana a big round of applause for this initiative? And so we ask Professor Emmanuel Cummings to remain on stage and to move the vote of thanks. It has been a very beautiful evening. Professor.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman, Honorable Distinguished Minister of Education, the Honorable Priya Manichan, Professor Mohammed, our Vice Chancellor, colleague Deputy Vice Chancellor Dean, Faculty of Education, and also want to recognize the entire delegation. I noticed that the Chief Education Officer, the Permanent Secretary, and other distinguished persons from the Education University, Ministry rather, members of the SMT, and the head of the Teachers Union. I've been asked to give the vote of thanks for this very innovative and historic launch of the International Center of Excellence in Education, Innovation, Learning and Development. As I sat all evening and I listened to all of the presentations, there are many things that went through my mind. And one of the phrases which I just want to share with you before I move the vote of thanks, that this launch is both historic and innovative, that to my mind, we will see the inheritance, and I repeat, the inheritance of this center for decades to come. I want to recognize and to thank the Honorable Minister for her words of wisdom and encouragement. In her closing remarks, she mentioned an important word, equity. In all aspects of life, in health, we speak about equity, and also in education, it's about equity. You know, sitting at the university for many years, and we look in terms of the demographics of our students, and we see the majority would come from Region 4, Region 3, Region 6, and Region 2, because that's where we have the best schools and the best teachers. And so what this center will do as the university responds to the needs of national development, and as our Minister, Vice Chancellor, all of those who spoke indicated, that it will ensure that there will be more equitable distribution of teachers across the country. It means, therefore, that those who want to study medicine or law or dentistry will not only come from those populated regions where we have the best teachers, but they will come from Region 1. They will come from Region 7, from Region 8, from Region 9, Region 10. The underserved regions. Those are one of the benefits of this center, reducing disparities in education, which is significant in our developmental agenda, ensuring that we have science teachers. Forgive me if I focus on science, because I know that there is where we have the deficiencies in terms of having students coming to the university in the year of science. It means we'll have a chemistry, physics, and maths teacher, equally distributed across the region. And this is what this project, this is what this center will do. It will ensure. So we move from STEM to STEAM. We speak about from STEM to STEAM. And so, Minister, we really would want to, on behalf of the university, to thank you not only for your presence, but the role you played to take us this far. And your entire delegation is here. The large delegation of important and managers within the education ministry is testimony to your commitment to this, to the functioning and the success of this center and the whole issue of education development in the country as a whole. I also wish to thank our Vice Chancellor, and I will not only speak about the Vice Chancellor, but also the Dean of the Faculty of Education and the entire university community, the role that they would have played in the establishment of the center. Certainly, getting us this far, there will have to be discussions at the level of the faculty, at the level of the academic policy and planning, and also quite recently at the level of the academic board. So your contribution as members of the academic board, as the members of academic policy and planning, and also all of those who have contributed at the level of the faculty, we wish to thank you for your suggestions, the work that you would have played in bringing us to having a document, having a center that is fully equipped to deliver the kind of education that we need in this time of our development. You know, whenever we speak about the pandemic, we speak about the bad things. I like to speak about the good things of the pandemic. There are a lot of good things. To me, what SARS-CoV-2 did to us, it acted as a catalyst in our developmental agenda. That's the way I see it, you know. It acted as an enzyme that enhanced our rate of development. And so, we're not going back to where we were, and that's one of the benefits of the pandemic. It is channels us into a new direction of education delivery. And certainly, we are grateful for that because it allows us not only to train a few hundreds of teachers, but thousands, because of innovations that arise because of the pandemic. And so I would want to say, even as the Minister was speaking about the thousands of teachers more, and I want to parallel that to the infection rate of SARS-CoV-2. We saw the enormous rate of infection, which is now manifested with an enormous rate of, which is matched rather, with an enormous rate of training of our teachers. So we actually matched the infection rate of the virus. And so it has been beneficial to us. We also wish to thank the head of the union for supporting this initiative. We know the head of the union have always had the concerns of the teacher, and so we wish to thank you for your support. And certainly, we have better trained teachers for a better Guyana as we develop the concept of one Guyana, a better Guyana, and more importantly, an educated Guyana. And so, I therefore also wish to thank our coordinator from Berbice campus. Berbice campus is an integrated part of us as part of the university in combination with the Turkana and for your words of encouragement to us, and we hope that this will not only be felt at Turkana, but also be felt at the Berbice Camp. But most of all, we also want to thank anyone else who saved us the time, afforded us your time, your busy schedule. There's so many things happening on a daily basis that you were able to come, members of the diplomatic corps, other distinguished individuals who I might not have mentioned. We want to thank you, persons from the media, Guyana Critic, and everyone else who would have been here to provide ensure that this is felt across the country simultaneously as we launch this very important center. So everyone else, of the ushers and all those who, and I right away, the musicians, the lovely, you know, we got the reincarnation of Whitney Houston and everything else, and all of those who would have contributed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please enjoy the rest of the day, and thank you. Bye. Thank you.
I wish to thank you too, Professor, for those words of thanks, because whatever we do, we need to give thanks. Very quickly, Minister, Professor, Dean, Professor Cummins, we'd like to invite you on stage so that the media could have a chance to take some photographs. Thanks, the coordinator and the union person. In addition, while we're doing that, we will invite Ben Louis,